All right, welcome everybody. We are the McKinstries on the move. We appreciate everybody for showing up, all those who've actually made it. So today's topic is going to be about the current changes, the upcoming changes, and things to look out for when it comes to your passport. There's a lot of stuff going on in terms of the US for 2025, and we want to make sure that everybody's up and they're aware on what's going on. So, before we get too far, we are the McKinstries on the move. I'm Shaquan McKinstry. This is
Michael McKinstry.
And we brought this topic to you so that way we really want all of our family and friends to be as aware as possible and to kind of be on top of things because stuff is moving quick. It's moving quick. And this is essentially our first live. So we are glad that you guys are a part of it, and we're kind of working out some technical difficulties. This is our first time going live.
And we will work through this.
All right, so I'm gonna let him go ahead and start on the very first topic, so that way I can get some things going here. So what's the first thing that we actually gonna address?
Well, we're going to address passport ranking.
Yes. Passport ranking.
All right.
So for those who don't know, passport ranking is a real thing. I know that like people have heard like, oh, the United States passport is like the most powerful passport in the world, or it gives you privilege, and you hear all these things, but I don't know if people actually knew that it's a real thing. Like there's a ranking, like a real ranking for where countries lie and the different things that they're able to access.
Because I was one of those people who didn't know.
Yeah, and I thought that was a little interesting, but nevertheless, so for all those who really don't know, a passport ranking is a real thing. So what it is that all of the countries, right? If you're a citizen there and you have a passport, you have a ranking, and it's determined by a number of different factors: political standing, economic standing, your currency rate when it comes to the trade around the world, treaties with other countries.
Treaties, a big deal.
Yeah, if you have like relationships and stuff like that with other countries. So essentially, long story short, if you got a good standing in money, you got good treaties, and your politics ain't really too messed up, you kind of get a high ranking, and every single year it changes. So with that being said, the United States has been number one, but it's not currently number one.
Once upon a time.
Yes. So back in 2015, it was technically number one, and it was ranked tied with the UK. So the way the system works is you can be number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but other countries can also be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So even though you're hearing number one, it's not necessarily number one, if that makes any sense. It just means that your country has the most access to other countries. Yeah, without having to go through like bureaucracy and like a lot of paperwork and a visa process and all that type of stuff. And so 2015, we were number one.
Things have changed.
Yes, things have changed. 2023, yeah, that was the last time that I checked prior to this situation. We were number 7. And even though we were number 7, it was like 18 countries ahead of us, if that makes any sense. Like we were number 7, but within the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Right, because if you
it
tied,
was 17 other countries.
if you tied, you still are tied for number 2, and everybody holds number 2.
There you go. Make that make sense.
Yeah.
There you go. So as we stand now, we're number 8. So we're starting to see a large little slight decline. I'm not trying to freak people out or nothing like that, but the facts are the facts. Not to say that we can't go back up, because we could go back up. We have no idea. But in terms of the power, it is slowly starting to go down. Okay, so next topic. Current changes. Because I said we was going to talk about current changes, some upcoming changes, and some things to be concerned about. And to me, it's really unprecedented. But as of 2025, you will need to go through the visa process to come into Europe.
To go visit.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, to come visit.
To come visit.
Wow.
Yes. So that's never been a thing, right? We've always had good standing with Europe in terms of the United States.
All you would need is your passport, jump on a flight.
And you were automatically given a tourist visa for a minimum of 90 days.
Yep.
You didn't have to put in any paperwork, anything like that. You just showed up with your passport, boom, you were good to go. There were no questions. That's it. You got your stamp. You kept it moving.
Yep.
Now you're gonna have to put in a little bit of paperwork. Now, what that paperwork is, I'm not quite 100% just yet. It's still rolling out.
We will come back to you on that.
Yeah, or you know what, we'll put it in the description if we get the information, or like the link to the website. Maybe it comes from the Department of State, but we'll see what the restrictions are or what the process is. But that's the current changes that we know of so far. So here comes the upcoming.
Man.
Mm.
Because Mr. Marco Rubio, he ain't playing.
Yes, yes.
Mr. Rubio ain't
Yes,
playing.
yes, yes. So, if you guys don't know, you don't follow politics, that's fine. I'll just briefly go through it real quick. So we know number 47 is coming in, okay? And number 47 has already announced a couple of people within his cabinet. And one of the people within his cabinet,
His head of state.
the Secretary of State.
Secretary.
Yes, the Secretary of State is actually Marco Rubio.
Yeah.
And if you don't know anything about this man,
He's hard.
he's a Florida senator, and he is now gonna be the Secretary of State. And he's hard on immigration and deportation, and he's already said that that's gonna be his thing, right? Is getting all the immigrants out, the illegal immigrants, and you already heard what 47 said about Haitians, right? I don't know I don't know how many relatives you got, but I got some relatives that look like they could be Haitian. Matter of fact, I have very close friends who are Haitian. So if the goal is deportation and getting legal immigrants out, and they're focused on Haitians and people who could possibly look like me, that's a concern. That is a big concern. And with Rubio now being named as the person for the Secretary of State and knowing his policies,
Man.
it's some things to be concerned about.
Things we all need to be informed on.
Yeah, I'm looking at my notes, y'all. Another thing to be concerned about is what 47 said about the government, right? He already said that he wants to downsize. And for all the people who don't really understand, that means do less with more. Doesn't necessarily mean that some people will be fired. It could, but it doesn't necessarily mean that. What I'm going to hopefully interpret it as is that they'll be reallocating people. So if they're downsizing and cutting out certain positions, that means that they can funnel employees to go towards whatever their goal is at the moment, right? If the goal is deportation, if the goal is to fight immigration and so on and so forth, then that means that these passports are gonna take a little bit longer to process.
Less manpower
Yeah.
in producing and more manpower in possibly escorting.
Upcoming changes. So I'm looking at the current events and I'm seeing who's coming into power, and it's looking like blinking red flags. And I'm like, yo, I've talked to my family members, I've talked to my friends, I told them before we left, update your passport, update your passport, update your passport. And she said it before when it comes to like my intuition and be on point. And this wasn't something that I necessarily wanted, right? But yeah, it's a real thing.
When the ancestors get to talking to her.
Too much doom and gloom. Too much doom and gloom. I don't want to get too heavy in the scare tactics, but I think everybody in the States is feeling it in terms of looking at who he's nominated for his cabinet, and it's not good.
Almost all the selections being made by number 47 are pretty wild. So,
Yeah.
You know, if you see any of them and you get to wondering.
Oh, as a matter of fact, what's his name? Kennedy, he's gonna actually be over Medi-Cal and Medicaid. Oh, and Dr. Oz. Oh, like the actual TV guy. Yeah. Never mind. Just look it up. when you got time, okay? Yeah, all right. So let's talk about some of the stuff that hasn't changed, because there's been so much doom and gloom. There are some things that are still consistent that we can rely on. As it stands right now, the processing times for your passports is 4 to 6 weeks. That time frame has not changed, so we can breathe the fresh air of that.
For now.
So if you want to go ahead and put in your application and do all the things, you can expect 4 to 6 weeks before you get your passport back. That's fine. Another thing that hasn't changed is they still allow you to expedite for an extra cost.
Yeah, of course.
In addition to that, another thing that actually hasn't changed is that if you are on public assistance, you can actually get your passport for free. You can get the fee waived.
Get the fees waived.
Yeah, so for example, let me look at my notes.
I-912.
Yes, the I-912 is what you have to put in. That's the fee waiver document, that form that you have to submit with the application. But if you are on SSI, SNAP, Medicaid, not Medicare, WIC, you actually can put in that form along with your application and proof of benefits and verification, and you'll get the fee waived and you can get your passport actually for free. So that's another thing you don't have to worry about. So for all those family friends that are just like, look, I don't have it, I can't spend the extra money, it's no excuse.
Yeah.
Get it for free. Please get it for free, and please get it now.
Keep it updated.
Yes, you definitely have to keep it
Keep
updated.
it updated.
We're gonna touch on that in a second. Okay, so, and also, if you're actually traveling within a week and you don't have your passport, you could actually still go in person and get a passport printed the same day.
A temporary passport, yeah.
Yeah, it won't give you the full 10 years. It'll give you, I think it's 5 years.
I want to say 5.
I think it's 5 years, but you can still get it. You can get a passport and you can get the heck out of Dodge if you need to, okay?
Yeah. And email and message and online submit. All the stuff you need to get the new one.
Yeah, right.
More permanent.
So another thing that hasn't changed, the price. They ain't going up on the price. They not going everything, not going everything as of yet. We don't want it to. So as it stands right now, for adults it costs $130. For children it costs $100. I'm sorry, for the passport books. If you want to get the passport card, it's a completely different price. Me personally, I didn't get the card. We didn't get the card. The girls don't have a card because it's not necessary.
It's only good for so much.
Yeah, you can only go to
Mexico
and Canada.
Canada.
And you can't even fly there. You can only go like bike round.
If you're going on foot vehicle.
I mean, here's the thing. It's an extra measure of
Identification.
if needed, right? But that's about it. It really don't serve any other purpose. But for the passport card, if anybody does want to get it, it is $30 for adults and $15 for children if you want to go ahead and get that. Let's see. Excuse me as I go over my notes.
Man, I hope everybody's prepared for what's coming. Because I feel like that stop and frisk is coming back. But just for like identification purposes. And if you don't have it, you should worry.
Yes, so that's gonna roll us straight into the things to be aware of.
Oh, I didn't glance at the notes.
Alright, so number 47 has already said that he's willing to deploy the military to aid in deportation and to aid in the whole immigrant situation. So roll with me real quick and let's just picture what that looks like. If you're deploying the military, right?
On U.S. soil.
On U.S. soil to check the U.S. citizens to see who's legal and who's not legal, you may need some identification. You may want to have that passport. You may want to even have the passport card. I'd rather have a passport. Passport card is not necessary because you can't really fly with it, but I'm saying if you just want an extra piece of identification, but it sounds a bit crazy.
Take a trip. Leave for a little while.
So yeah, proof of citizenship may be necessary if you choose to do that. I mean, 47 says stuff, not all the time does he follow through, but it is feeling very doom and gloom. And the more that I'm reading, the more that I'm getting up to date on some of the upcoming changes, the more I'm like, please, I hope my family and friends and all of us
Are okay.
the BIPOC in general, okay? Okay?
Are okay.
And we get all the information needed so that way we can actually have some wiggle room. Because one thing, if nothing else, the passport has power. The US passport has power. Whew. All right. Sorry. Another thing to be aware of, is that you need a minimum of 2 to 3 blank pages on your passport to travel.
So we found out that they can deny you entry in certain places just because you don't have enough available pages in your passport.
And
So,
then, yeah.
so if you got all these steps and you stamped up and you get places and you doing things, and you just traveling, yeah, they will deny you if your passport does not have enough blank pages.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Each country is a little bit different. We say 2 to 3 because some countries say 2, some countries say 3. And just so we're clear, page is front and back.
That's one.
That's 1. You can't pull it's clear on this side and it's clear on that side, so that's 2 pages. They will tell you to take your butt back, kick you right back out to where you came from. And hopefully stuff ain't crazy in the US and you just like, okay, I'm gonna go back. But if you're not, make sure you got 2 to 3 pages completely blank. Pretty please.
If you don't, just order a new book.
Yes. We will get to that. Another thing to be concerned about is that you have to have a minimum of 3 to 6 months still left on your passport. Some countries is 3 months, some countries is 6 months, so on and so forth. Check the country that you plan on visiting to find out exactly what their stipulations are. But you want to have a minimum of, I'm gonna say 6, because that's like comfort zone, right? You don't really want to be out here traveling with only 6 months left on your visa, and then you overstay your welcome, and you can't fly back, you're stuck in the country, you get deported, you go to jail. It's a lot.
For a little bit of nothing. It's a lot for nothing.
Yeah, so 6 months. Safe to say, have 6 months still valid on your passport if you're gonna use it to travel. Let's see, another thing. If you're wondering like, okay, well, when can I renew, or what are the stipulations? Because I have a passport, but I wanna know what I can do to make sure it's up to date. Okay, so number 1 is the day, it's hard to explain. So there's 365 days in a year, right?
Mhm.
Your passport is good for 10 years, right?
Mhm.
So after you're finished your 9 years in 1 day, you can apply and renew.
New passport.
Exactly, so 1 day into your last year before it expires, you can actually apply to renew your passport. Another thing is that if your passport is lost, damaged, or stolen, you got 5 years. You don't have to turn it in, your old one, you don't have to give it back to them, nothing of the sort. And I'm not saying that so you can keep it and try and use it. No, you go to jail. The moment that you apply for a new one and say it's lost or stolen, it's no good. It's no good, you can't travel no more.
Toss it.
Yeah. So with that being said, you got 5 years if it's lost, damaged, or stolen to actually renew and get a new one. And you want to go through the renewal process instead of the brand new process of applying, because you have to send in your documentation of like your birth certificate, social security card, IDs, a whole bunch of different documents. Not really a whole bunch, but there's a few.
There's a process.
There's a few
You gotta
documents.
check
Okay?
all the boxes.
Right. And so if you don't want to go through that and you simply just want to renew, cool, you got 5 years. Let's see. Oh, right, you can let them know about this portion here. So, things to be concerned about, how your passport can be invalidated.
Oh,
I'm gonna go off screen and take care of a few things.
Oh, man. Your passport can be invalidated by it being wet, by it being torn, by it being chewed on. So if you drop it in some water and you got soggy pages, it's time to get a replacement book, buddy.
Yeah.
If you leave it in your purse and your baby, your kid, your dog, your fluffy, or your furry, what is it called?
Fur baby.
Your fur baby.
Your
If your fur baby get a hold of your book for whatever reason, it's time to get a new one.
Yeah.
If you get them teeth marks,
On your passport.
In your passport, on your passport, it's time for a new one.
A
So
rip,
it cannot
tear,
be damaged,
scribble.
it has to be, or they want it to look like it's in pristine condition. So of course, if it's a little rough around the edges, maybe that's cool, but they don't want it to toe up. They're gonna deny you entry based on the condition of your passport. So let's try our best to keep our passports in pristine condition.
Yes. Oh, and another thing, if you've gotten married or divorced or changed your name or anything like that,
On some documents, you gotta change it on
all documents. Yeah, I actually had to go through that. Yay. Yes,
She had a good time. Yes, she did.
But yeah, so if anything has actually changed, you wanna make sure that you update it, so marriage, divorce, name change, stuff like that, and make sure it's current and up to date. So, for all the people who are just like, oh, okay, this is a lot of information, but I've never actually done it, and I don't know what to do, and so on and so forth, we got you. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna bring up another, there we go, another page here. And so I'm gonna show you how easy it is to go ahead and apply for your passport. Boom, boom. All right, so hopefully you guys can see what I'm showing you here. So I am on the travelstate.gov. Now this is for all Americans, okay? So when you get here, you'll see, let me scroll down. You can fill out the form online and print it. So here's the information that you need. To fill out the form, here we go. For most people, it's gonna be the DS-11. That's the standard form for most adults. Boop, see, there it goes right there. And it comes into the form filler. You can do it two different ways. You can pull up the form filler and you can type all your information in and fill it out and then print it, or you could just print it or email it to yourself, hand fill it out, and then mail it in. So that's an option too. And you can see here where it says the processing times. So for the standard, it's gonna be 4 to 6 weeks, and if you expedite it, it's gonna be 2 to 3 weeks with an extra $60. So don't say I didn't tell you. And just so we're clear, the processing time is what we're talking about, not the mailing time. They cannot tell you how long it's gonna take
For them to receive it.
exactly, or mail it to you. That's just not a thing, okay? All right, so with that, you wanna make sure that you print out a single-sided 8 by 5 inch by 11 letter-sized, where's the photo? Sorry, I thought I was reading the inches for the photo. Let me see, let me scroll down. I don't see it on here, but you wanna make sure that you have your passport picture. You can go to CVS, Walgreens, if there's a Walgreens near you, but for the most part, most of these places, and I'm not gonna lie, they kind of overcharge, because I think they charge like $18 for 2 pictures. It's crazy. I know that there are some YouTube tutorials if you want to see exactly like how to take a picture off of your phone, off your iPhone, and then print it if you have like printer photo paper at home. I know there are YouTube tutorials on how to do that too. All right, so you've seen the processing time, you've seen the application. Let's go over to the passport fees. So as I explained previously before, for an adult, it is $130. And adults are considered everyone that's 16 years or older.
16?
Yeah.
18, you grown.
No, 16 years or older. And the cool thing is that if you happen to have a 16-year-old, they can actually apply by themselves. They will need a parent to have one signature, but they can apply by themselves. So you can apply for your 16-year-old, or they can do it themselves, yeah. And so you'll see here that the passport book, $130. Again, passport card, $30. This is for the adults, 16 and older. So those prices are the same for both. Let me see. I wanted to show you the option for the children, but I'm not seeing it on here. Here we go. My child is under 16. So here are the prices. For your passport book, as I mentioned before, is $100. If you wanna get the card, it's actually just gonna be $15, boop. And if you wanna get both of them, there's a combined price. All right. Now, what other information do people wanna know? Because people will feel like, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that, and this is difficult and so on and so forth. And we're here to kind of debunk some of that stuff. It's not hard.
It's an easy process.
It's not difficult. I know that we've given up a lot of information in a short amount of time, and the only reason why is, well, this is our first live. And we're trying to like word vomit as much as we can, as quick as possible, so we can get to the nitty gritty of the content. You know what I mean? Instead of that talking for so long before you get to exactly what people want to hear and what the topic of conversation is.
All right.
Nevertheless, I digress. So this is what the picture needs to look like. I know that you can't wear glasses. I know that you can't have on like a whole bunch of different colors. Earrings are fine. You want to take out as many piercings as possible, along with jewelry. I know for the girls, they have them take their jewelry off. It needs to be a white background, but again, here are the tips. They do have guidelines on here also for exactly what it needs to be. But let me go over to the more important information, is what do you have to provide? Okay, you got your application, you filled out the stuff or whatever, but what is it that you actually need to provide? So, here we are. I'm trying to see the documents that you need to send in. What form should I use? Get your processing times, fees. I think if anything, maybe we just go through the process. Maybe we pull up the application so we can show everybody exactly what it is.
Okay.
All right, let's do
What
that.
information you put in? Mine's and yours.
I'm gonna put in your information.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, we're gonna put in your information.
Let's put in all old stuff.
All old stuff.
All old stuff. I don't want y'all to know my personal business.
All right, so what you guys can't see on camera is I'm actually, I'm pulling up the actual application. So let me see. Let me stop sharing there. And go back in, and let me get you here. All right, so I'm pulling up the application. All right, so here's the actual application that you will need, okay? And this is exactly what it looks like. I got it from the same website. I ain't going nowhere. They got a link. Here's the one that you pull up. And in here are the instructions, and it tells you exactly what you need to have. So here's the information that you fill in, typical stuff, first name, last name, birthday, gender, occupation, so on and so forth. Once you continue to go on, oh goodness. Well, what I wanted was the information that they need, like the proof of what you need to actually apply. And I know that they have it on the document.
All the very specific items and things of that sort?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There we go. Okay. I think I found it, y'all. All right, go from there, back here, to there, to there, to here. Again, we knew with this, working out the technical difficulties.
We will get it together.
But we don't want you to just kind of like take our word for it.
We want to show you.
We want to show you. All right, so here we go. You need to provide citizenship evidence. Here's some examples. If you were born in the States, what you need to provide. All right, birth certificate, okay? Boom, 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 boom. And for those who don't know, yes, they want the original. Or in addition to a photocopy, a colored photocopy. For whatever reason, they want both, okay? You also need to provide a picture of your ID, the photo identification. Coming up. All right, so you need to bring your ID, and as you see right here, it says, and a photocopy of the ID when you apply. And you need to have, obviously, a primary ID. And let's find out what the secondary options are. Let's see.
Out-of-state driver's license,
Mhm.
enhanced driver's license with photo.
Yeah, and Social Security is on here. See, there it goes right there. Social Security. And even an expired driver's license. Oh, I didn't know that you could have your Medicare health card on there too.
A voter registration card, okay.
All right, so yeah.
Temporary driver's license without a photo?
That's wild.
That
That piece of paper from the DMV.
is, that is wild.
That is wild.
It's coming in the mail.
Yeah, yeah.
That's crazy.
Okay, so now you guys know, right? Just fill out the application, you have your ID, you have your birth certificate, you have your social security card, those 3 forms of documents, and you're good to go. So what will happen, let me go ahead and stop sharing. So what will happen is, you guys, once you put in the application and you provide them all of the originals, what they'll do is they're gonna mail you 2 different envelopes. One will be with your passports, and then they'll mail in your original documents later. It's not gonna be all in one package. I think that that's kind of smart.
Yeah, because you don't want nobody just to have your information.
It's one thing for them to have your passports, but to have your birth certificate, your social security card, your ID, and everything else. So they do mail those things separately, just so that way you're aware. And I think that is all the information that we can give you. We've given you the current changes that we already know are coming, the upcoming changes, some things to consider and to think about. We did let you know a little doom and gloom in terms of politics, but those are just facts. Those are just facts. That's not on us. Those are just facts. But if nothing else, the passport has power. So we want everyone to be able to use it. If you feel stuck, if you feel burdened, if things in the States become just a little bit too unbearable and a bit crazy, don't feel like you're in a fishbowl. You have the whole world as an option. And as long as you're a US citizen, you can use it. You can use it and get the hell out of Dodge. Like I said, a lot of these places, they allow you to be there for 3 months, some countries 6 months, some countries a whole year without putting in any information. So if you need to get out, if you want to get out,
Just do a little research, do a little looking, Googling, understanding in YouTube.
yeah.
What is it like? How can I maintain?
And I think another episode that we should do is like some countries that are friendly for us. Us people of color and BIPOC, you know what I mean? I think that might be another episode coming up because I'm realizing now that we've made this move that not everybody knows and not everybody has the information, and a lot of people are scared to actually
Pull the trigger on something.
yeah, and not even just pull the trigger, like to do the research. Like you can go to Mexico, baby. Merida, Mexico is one of the safest cities in the world. Not just in Mexico, in the world, okay? So, yeah. Panama is an option. Thailand, I've looked at Thailand, not gonna lie. There are a few places that you can actually go to, migrate to, and you can spend a number of months there if you just simply need to get out. So, with all of that being said, thank you guys for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, follow, comment, do all things, pretty please, with sugar on top. We hope that this information was informative. We hope that you guys have gained something from it. We hope we didn't ramble on too much or too long or even rush through it. We're learning. Yeah. So we appreciate you guys for tuning in. But we are the McKinstry's on the move. Move with us. Thank you.
Till next time.
Till next time. There we go.